Welcome to the Senior Symposium presentations, and we're very happy to have this opportunity for each student to share a passion of theirs and something that they've delved into and done research about and brought together. And Lindsay is going to be introduced by Ryan Kerr. And there will be time at the end for questions and answers and comments. So please refrain from the chat until then.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I don't know any of you, but you'll know your classmate, Lindsay Granath, my partner. She asked me to introduce her. And just a quick note, and then I will give her the full space. I would like all of you to understand that this is her Belle cosplay. This took over a week of just constant day and night hard work. And she spent so much time, put so much effort into this. You'll hear all about it in the presentation. And it took just elbow grease, resilience, and plenty of other things. But after all the effort and seeing where she's gone with it, it's very refreshing to see how she ended up. So I'll leave this in. Yes.
Thank you, and hello, everybody. Welcome to Create Your Character, Cosplay, and Resilience. I am your host, Wiggles the Great, or as you all know me, Lindsay. Thank you all so much for attending and being curious about one of my favorite things. To start us off, I should probably explain what cosplay is for those of us who may not know. Cosplay is the act of dressing up as characters from different types of media, such as comics, anime, manga, video games, cartoons, even books and tabletop games. Cosplayers often attend conventions like Comic-Con and all that, and dress up to represent their favorite characters in fandom, which is the universe in which these characters are from. Take Marceline and Princess Bubblegum in the top left corner. For example, they come from a cartoon called Adventure Time. So anyone who loves or cosplays for Adventure from Adventure Time is in the Adventure Time fandom. Cosplay comes from the words costume and play. The first time someone wore a costume to a convention was in 1939 at the World Science Fiction Convention in New York. Myrtle R. Douglas made futuristic costumes, as she called them, for her and her partner, Forrest J. Ackerman. They're officially the credited inventors of fan costuming. The term cosplay was first created by Nobuyuki Takahashi in 1984, and he attended the same convention that they had attended. It had now been named Worldcon. When he traveled back home to Japan after his trip, he wrote about people cosplaying, and the term has forever stuck. So that was super quick recap on cosplay, and don't worry if you don't totally wrap your mind around it. I'm sure by the end you will probably have a more well-rounded sense of what we do. So cosplayers start cosplaying for a ton of different reasons, and I've found that the commonality in all of us is that we are all building resilience in one way or another. Other than the pure act of just dressing up as our favorite characters, obviously, but whether many of us in the cosplay community realize it or not, this hobby is all about overcoming adversity, feeling more comfortable in our skin, finding courage in community, finding and becoming confident, and many other things that fall under the resiliency category. As many of us know it, resilience is the will to keep going, to push through struggles and adversity, or our bounce back ability to major life problems, situational problems, and our daily life struggles. There are 4 types of resiliency: mental, physical, emotional, and social. So let me connect each of these to an aspect of cosplay and characters for you. Mental resilience is about thinking flexibly, building or being able to weigh your options, considering alternatives, planning out and reaching goals, understanding different perspectives, and creatively problem solving. Oftentimes we battle our brains in cosplay, dressing up in costumes we might not totally be comfortable with in like now or ever, or even making and wearing our first cosplays that we don't always feel the most proud of. They give us the chance to challenge our thoughts about ourselves. You might say, I don't look as good as I thought I would, but you can combat that by saying it's okay. I might not just be used to this yet. And I'm not anime girl skinny, so I shouldn't wear this. that's totally not realistic in any sort of way. So I'm gonna focus on the fact that I'm bringing a fictional character to real life. I'm what they look like now. And then everyone else looks better than me. I am just used to looking at myself, or my craftsmanship will get better as I practice, and someday I'll feel better about the outfit that I'm wearing. When we go out in our cosplays and work toward rerouting these thoughts, we are building mental resilience. Physical resilience is our body's capacity to hold up to physical challenges, build and maintain stamina, and our ability to recover effectively and efficiently when damaged. In anime especially, there are types of characters and even entire series built around leveling up or pushing past our limits. Goku from Dragon Ball Z constantly pushes himself past his limits and takes care of himself afterward, and is a huge inspiration for a lot of people to gain muscle and body build, but they still take care of themselves afterward and by eating and resting. Midoriya from My Hero Academia breaks his body over and over and over again because he inherits a superpower he has no idea how to use, and he models to us how to listen to our bodies so we don't break ourselves. Boji from Ranking of Kings, who is a young deaf prince who finds out he can't form muscle strength, shows us that disabilities don't always have to physically hold us back as he taps into his speed, stamina, and smarts. Connecting to these characters, cosplaying them, and inheriting their ideals helps us physically reach higher limits and can push us to uphold our own physically healthy life. Emotional resilience refers to our emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, perseverance, acceptance, and optimism. An example of emotional resilience is someone who accepts adversities or challenges with flexibility and the attitude that things will get better. We've all heard the saying, finding silver linings, and that is the perfect example of emotional resilience. When we cosplay, we are drawn to different characters for different reasons at different times in our lives. Oftentimes, villains do not have a lot of emotional resilience because they have gone through harsh traumas and haven't adequately figured out how to navigate through them. Or maybe they're going through a tough time in their current story and that makes them turn into a villain or someone who's just trying to survive. Heroes and anti-heroes, which are the true neutral characters in media like Deadpool, can show us flexibility, guide us to brighter futures, and ultimately the silver linings I was talking about. I'd like to say that it is also true that heroes can also learn a lot from villains about the value of self-worth and implementing selfishness for self-preservation instead of always trying to please everyone else. We all connect to different types of character stories for different reasons. As much as I love a good hero character, I am fascinated by and connect heavily with a lot of villains because of the pain they endure being similar to the things that I have endured, told myself, and overcome in my life. Social resilience comes from the ways we connect with others in social settings. This includes things like catching up with friends, working on a team, networking, and community building. It is built from trust, diversity, tolerance, and respect. When we do things like craft nights, either online or in person, which yes, online craft nights are totally a thing, thanks to things like Discord, Zoom, and like Twitch and all that stuff, social platforms. We are building social resilience. Working through problems, finding solutions with friends and like-minded community members, and navigating the social aspects of conventions and group meetups is all building these social resilience aspects. We learn to trust and connect through a mutual interest that most of us grew up being mocked and bullied for. Since resiliency is such a broad topic, I'm going to table most of the textbook definitions from now on. Now that you have a little bit of a glimpse of cosplay, I'd really like to start off with my own story in becoming a cosplayer. A little over 9 years ago, I was a depressed, socially and generally anxious young 23-year-old with zero self-esteem. And what I would eventually learn to realize years later was an eating disorder. I was stagnant in my life with no real direction, no hobbies other than gaming, and feeling like I had no hope for a real future. I had friends, but none that I felt comfortable enough around to be myself, which actually at 23, I had finally met one friend who was just as geeky as I was. But before that, I only had friends I felt I had to mask around or prove myself to. I didn't really have anyone who accepted my geeky side, and if they did accept it, it was met with backhanded comments, sarcasm, and general disinterest in conversing about any of it. So after a lifetime in school, where we were all pressured to hide our geeky interests for fear of judgment and bullying, I never knew I could finally actually have friends who would ever accept the real me. So when I finally moved in with my other geeky friend at that 23, we found the common ground to geek out with each other, and I expressed how interested I was in cosplaying. I had attended conventions for a few years already at this point, but was always pressured to not cosplay by my ex because it was just people in costume and generally socially different. But I thought it was really cool. So I finally told my friend, who ended up actually helping me make my first cosplay, which is Selfie Flux from a game, League of Legends, that I used to play a lot. Out of the clothes we found at the thrift store, we made it out of some cheap fabrics, a cardboard tube, a hot glue, paint, and some other random stuff we found. I attended my first convention in cosplay in the summer of 2014. My favorite convention, actually, PAX Prime, Penny Arcade Expo, which is the largest video game convention we have in the US. That year, they showed the League of Legends North American Championships live at the convention, it's an online competitive game where pro teams go up against each other, and kind of like sports, basically. And I had a blast cosplaying with all of the other League of Legends cosplayers who attended the huge event. I got to meet pro gamers I've been watching all season, and I just got to celebrate geekdom with everyone. It was, to this day, one of the best times I remember having at a convention. I even made some new friends there that lived in Portland, who I ended up going to see every summer for a few years after that. And they actually never attended the con again, but I had finally found my niche, something to feel good about, a way to find comfort in myself and my interests after a lifetime of keeping it a secret. A way to grow and learn new skills, somewhere I could meet people and feel connected in ways that I had always wanted to, and something that challenged me to come out of my shell and be myself. Here I am, 9 years later, a completely different human, definitely still have anxiety and other struggles, but I am much more well-equipped to deal with them now, and I know I have an entire community of support to call on if I am ever feeling lonely or in need of some help. I have a side-by-side on the screen, which we call a glow up. Or the then and now, from when I first started cosplaying to where I currently am. So let's just analyze this a little bit and throw a little bit of resilience flair into it. Let's see. Hello. Sorry, we're on the wrong one. Okay. So in one of Brene Brown's books, Rising Strong, she talks about one of the most important parts of resilience that we don't often draw attention toward, the rising part and all of the mucky stuff that it comes with. Often we hear stories like the one I just shared, the basics of my past self, the objective thing that helped me get out of it, which is cosplay here, and then the better version of me who is standing here in front of you. But cosplay in general is not a cure-all. It is a catalyst and something that challenges us to grow and become better versions of ourselves if we work towards it. Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, feeling our emotions, reckoning with them, and learning to cope. Let me get this straight. We don't just put on a costume and all of our stuff goes away. No, that would be escapism and repression, and that does not lead us out of anything. Instead, we put on a costume, or we begin to make a costume, and we deal with the thoughts, difficulties, or roadblocks as they arise. We look at the issues that come up and really see them and learn different ways to deal with them, whether they have to do with social anxiety, the way we see our bodies, or even just back in the crafting process, struggling to get our seams to look right or our stupid sleeves to fit. And then problem solving is a huge part of cosplay, especially when it comes to making our own costumes. Oftentimes, these are 2D or 3D fictional characters whose creators do not always care if anything is functional. Take my Monster Hunter cosplay. Do you really think any of this is going to help anybody hunt massive monsters? No. No, you would die. The hips alone are so clunky that there's no way that you can try to run at your full speed. Not to mention all the feathers. Why? Why? That is not going to protect you from anything. Well, they look dope in game, and I feel like a boss, even though I have to walk wide-legged and turn sideways to fit through doors, as we all saw earlier. Anyway, we have to figure out ways for these characters to be functional and for their outfit to actually fit the real us and stay on. Take Belle, who I am currently wearing. this looks like a dress, but it is actually two pieces, a bodysuit and a skirt with a hoop skirt underneath. So I can easily get in and out of it, which is very important for bathroom breaks. And if I want to sit down because I need a bench, actually these chairs are not bad, but I made this cosplay in 9 full days with 13 yards of satin that I had to dye because I just could not find the color that I wanted. Ironing all these little pieces of fabric afterwards was the bane of my existence. There you go. But it was the only way that I could get the color that I wanted. So I had no pattern. I had a general idea of what Yaya Han, who's a pro cosplayer, did for hers, thanks to her blog, but I really just winged it. I stenciled my own pattern for the petals and eyeballed it onto my base skirt and then cut them out and hope for the best after the long dyeing process. These shoes were scrap material that I wrapped around some foam and glued some base heels to some base heels I found at the thrift store since I couldn't find any shoes that looked like hers for a budget price. Budget is also a huge thing that we have to plan out. Belle actually only cost me $180 to make, which is unheard of for 13 yards of satin alone. And then these flowers. But I planned early and I was able to get a 70% off discount on the satin, and all of the flowers were on clearance or thrifted, or I found them at the dollar store, minus the dahlias. These I couldn't find anywhere. But the rest of the cosplay was either thrifted scrap materials I found at the dollar store. This is one of the cosplays I have been able to feel extremely accomplished in making and very confident in wearing. I put her on for the first time and I almost cried, but I knew it would ruin my makeup. I was so proud. I even texted photos to 2 of my friends that I made in school, Lily and Raven. Hi, Lily. During the process and after the first try on, although this is not how I always feel in a new cosplay. I have personally cried at myself so many times in the mirror while in cosplay because I was just having a horrible body dysmorphia day, or I didn't look like how I thought I would in the cosplays that I just spent hours on. I didn't look like the character. I wasn't skinny enough. My stupid fucking sleeve is tighter than the other sleeve, and it's making me really claustrophobic and also triggering my perfectionism. I have an ongoing battle with sleeves. They just never look right. They never fit right. And it's definitely part of my journey. But last November, I finished a cosplay I was absolutely stoked for. And when I was finished with her, before I even put everything on, I had really big thoughts and discomfort in just her trench coat. It took conversing with my partner about how anime characters not a real depiction of the human body, rewatching parts of the show to get a feel for Kiwi's mannerisms and attitude, and actually putting the whole dang thing on to finally feel like a boss-ass bitch. Remember that emotional, mental, and social resilience that I was talking about before. This is it. The support from my partner is social. The flexibility to say, yes, I am a real person and Kiwi is a fictional depiction. I am going to go watch her and try to feel that same excitement I felt before again and essentially hype myself up. Mental. And my silver lining in all of this was accepting that I am not an anime character. I'm just kidding. But for real, my silver lining in this was seeing what I made when I finally put Kiwi on. I totally looked like her. Look at the side by side. They're up there. And I made all of that in 3 days. I learned how to use a foam pattern with this cosplay, and I taught myself how to use sewing patterns again while also heavily modifying said pattern. Even though I still had a lot of body confidence issues, I was able to push through it because of how proud I was of the actual cosplay. Who cares if I'm not a size 00? I'm still Kiwi. A lot of cosplay is like this. We struggle even though we go out there and have the literal best time with each other. It's hard not to compare ourselves to others, especially when someone else is getting praise and you don't feel that you are. In the cosplay world, this happens often, especially with the aspect of social media intertwined. We may start to feel envious of other cosplayers who have a larger following or are getting more attention than we are, or than we feel we are. And without reckoning with these emotions, we can lead to things like starting rumors, resentment, self-hate, isolation, all of that, all the not so great stuff. Although if we look at our emotions and assess how we are feeling, we might come to a resolution. One for the envy part could be, wow, I'm really envious of these people because I feel like I'm not seen. I should probably figure out a way to deal with this so that I don't end up hurting myself or lashing out at others. We all start somewhere, and I see the envy really come out a lot when people make their own cosplays. The first cosplay that we make is never the best thing in the world. Unless you're maybe like a pro sewer or something, you know. But we all start somewhere. I remember being so envious of the pros that could make armor and stuff. Then I didn't even get into armor for another like 4 or 5 years because it was just way too much without any kind of groundwork or baseline. My start into cosplay was full of self-doubt and envy. I only started to really become comfortable and confident after years of skill building and making costumes that didn't fall apart. And finally fully entering the cosplay community thanks to a cosplay community shoots Facebook group and meeting my cosplay friend. I met my first real cosplay friend as Goku and Bulma 5 years ago when I was navigating through my trauma story. We met in said Facebook group because she wanted to take photos with a Goku cosplayer. What's really funny to me is that these two characters in Dragon Ball have known each other forever and are literal best friends. And we had no idea that getting together for this photo shoot randomly without even really knowing each other was going to lead us to also being literal best friends. We even brought back Goku and Bulma this year to celebrate our 5 years of friendship, which is on the way. I've met so many other amazing people through this wonderful hobby. And a lot of that is thanks to Flux, my Bulma, whether she knew that before right now or not. These characters are not only the only models we also have tons of community members who inspire us and model behavior and mindsets that help us along our own personal journeys. Whether that's how eager they are to meet new people, their craftsmanship and pro tips, their uplifting demeanors, and or like how hot they feel they look as anime dudes. Whatever it is, we get to see that and experience it with them, and it gives us life and the courage to go after our own goals. Like my friend Bearsrar. She's the absolute best fangirl I've ever seen. And she's also a really skilled cosplayer with loads of knowledge. She literally could not figure out how to talk to me the first time we met because she was starstruck by my cosplay of one of her favorite lesser known characters. And I will never, ever forget that. I take that one out sometimes when I feel self-conscious, and I just remember that at least Bears always thinks I look cool. Although, which is like more social and mental resilience. But speaking of my friends and skills and everything I just went over, I actually have a video that my partner Ryan helped me make. He's a videographer and award-winning filmmaker, and we were able to make a compilation of the 9 interviews I did for this project with a bunch of videos that he's taken over the course of the last few years. I wanted it to be like 5 or 6 minutes, but I just could not cut anything else down. I loved everybody's answers too much. So please enjoy this 7.5-minute video. And on Zoom, let me know if you can't hear it. What got you into cosplay and what made you stay?
Well, I guess what got me into it initially was that I was fine art world. That's my background. I was getting the sense that the fine art world was really just about as lost, not as much about the art as you might expect or hope. I was kind of on the sideline fiddling around with cosplay. I felt the scene was really vibrant with a lot of people that are really enthusiastic about being creative. Networking, they're actually excited about the craft. When you can share things with people, it doesn't feel so self-indulgent.
I got to channel that kind of lifetime of creativity into my passion.
Getting to meet people and like build relationships have been one of those things that I've been able to look into building and having fun with.
It was amazing. We had so much fun. And I was like, I'm gonna do this now. This is gonna be my thing. I love it.
I started cosplaying in nursing school because I was so frustrated. It's such a fun way for me to express gratitude for fandoms, for creators, for introducing me to things that have been with me, brought me joy.
And it's the perfect combination between acting, modeling, and geekdom, because I learned so much every single time. You can just become somebody else. You can become somebody that you really idolize. Why are you passionate about this hobby?
Every reason. It's really fun and mentally stimulating to problem solve how to turn these fictional characters into realities. And it's a really great activity to bond with like-minded people. It's incredibly rewarding when you succeed and always a great learning experience no matter what the outcome is.
It's made me a little bit more extroverted. This isn't Josh, this is Josh.
not very good at pretending to like people. The cool thing about cosplay is that I don't have to pretend. I like people, I like their work. I generally like get along well with theirs.
Being who I am, a person of color, a person like LGBTQIA person, being a plus size person, I'm gonna inspire someone by being myself.
I used to think that I wasn't creative, and I used to think that I was not artistic. So it proved me wrong.
It encourages you to work out and encourages you to try to make something out of basically nothing sometimes.
I don't like to bring this up too much, I don't think, but it's really satisfying to get so many like compliments and stuff. When you do a good job, it's rewarded.
You can express yourself in a different way, like especially for me, like anime characters are really animated and they can be like super out there, whereas like day to day, you typically can't really act like that. How has engaging in cosplay changed your life or you as a person?
It does help to encourage me to kind of like step out of my comfort zone a little bit more and feel more confident in like what I can do and what I want to do and everything like that.
Engaging in this hobby has led me on a really rewarding journey towards self-confidence. It's taught me to tackle terrifying things head on because that's how you grow. When I dress with certain characters, I can feel a different confidence come out.
But with great connection. And I've just kind of popped out of my little bubble legs. So
I think it's really helped me kind of discover a better version of myself.
I have been reached out to by huge companies that I never, ever would have thought like was even remotely possible, like DC, Netflix, like people reach out over 600,000 followers. And I think that's so cool because I can share my passions with them. I can teach them things. They can teach me things. God knows I learn a whole lot from them. And I get to share my joy with them. And my life has changed because I met my partner through cosplay.
It's made me as a person, I think, a lot more patient and more well-spoken, perhaps. Like I said, like I wouldn't have necessarily otherwise done like charity events or this podcast, like talking in public to strangers forever. Like what? No way. Like
It's maybe more social and take things that I do more seriously. Have you noticed any skills you've learned either in creating or in your own personal life, and what are they?
I don't know how to do makeup at all. I've never sewn. Wig styling, sewing,
Lighting, poses, video editing, chainmail, never made that before, full armor, wig styling. I've always been a pretty good planner, but I think cosplay made me better at it.
Thermoplastics or craft foam, people are generally pretty eager to help. So I don't feel like I'm ever lost for information.
having multiple perspectives, so being like, okay, if I can't make this possibly happen this way, I know that there's gonna be a path for that goal. And maybe that path that I was trying was better.
Really helped me learn about my social anxiety and how to set myself up for success when it comes to networking and interacting with people.
welding, I've learned how to make things out of foam, I've learned sewing, I've learned electronics, 3D printing, I've learned taping, soldering, who knows all these things, cosplayers.
And I guess also like home improvement, making props exposes me to a lot of time at like the hardware store. The other day, my dad was asking me advice on plumbing putter or like sealant or adhesives. And I'm like, oh, I got you. I have opinions.
If you could pick one character you connect heavily with, who would it be and why?
I think it would have to be Amethyst from Steven Universe. She's just like a short, chunky little trash baby, and I identify with that.
Rick Universe from Universe, even with all the stuff that has happened to him in the past, he's still compassionate towards the people around him. Absolutely love that character.
From Ruby, her personality, she's got that really like honey dad sense of humor, just like me, but she's way more like open and like robust and like gonna beat you in the face if you hurt my friends kind of personality. And I feel like I kind of relate to that, but don't necessarily show it as much as.
But these days I'm connecting a lot more to Batgirl, who is a little bit more happy-go-lucky and fun and wants everybody to have a good time, but still knows how to get the job done. And so it just, I think that's gonna be a constantly evolving, and in a much more positive place right now, I guess.
And like Yuna's character, she's a kind of balance of, she's like a real human. She's a balance of strength and courage and you know, and emotion, just like anybody else.
Marin Kitagawa from My Dress Up Darling. She definitely has the attitude that if you have a dream, go for it. Like, don't give up, even though it's hard. and that you shouldn't be ashamed of something that you're passionate about.
I cosplay a lot of Monster Hunter. In Monster Hunter, like your avatar, that's you in that world. So all of my cosplay, whenever I do, I do so much Monster Hunter cosplay. That's me. That's me in the game, but in real life. Like the person I'm always kind of chasing is an idealized version of someone who is strong and capable of, defeating anything that comes across her. That's me. So that's why I keep cosplaying me in fantastical things. It's me. I love me.
So I'll have everyone's Instagrams at the end of my presentation for anyone who wants to follow them and check out what we all do here further. And just for the sake of what I'm going to be talking about after this video, I'm going to be using everyone's Instagram handles when referring to them. We use these handles as our real names. It sounds weird to a lot of people to just use your online name in referencing people when conversing, but we think of them as chosen names. When we like them enough to use them in the online world, so why not use them in the real one too? It's like having a different persona, one we feel safe exploring in. Instead of Lindsay right now, I'm Wiggles. A pet name I was given to by an ex of mine who actually tried to dim my shine and shun me for being weird and too much of a geek. When we broke up, I reclaimed this title as a place to be okay being weird in, and a place to explore in. Not everyone's name is like mine, but we all connect with them heavily as a given name that we chose for ourselves to find safety and comfort in. They also help keep us safe in case any creepy people show up. So anyway, back to the video. Everyone has their own story in the cosplay world. We've overcome plenty of obstacles, learned copious amounts of skills that have to do with crafting and the real world. We found connection, motivated ourselves, and a multitude of other different things by dressing up as characters that we love with other humans that we can find real connection with. The characters that we identify with often change, like Bears brought up. She said that she is in a more positive place now as she connects with Batgirl instead of the previous character she mentioned not in the video, Huntress, who is stubborn and has her morals, and everyone else be damned. So Batgirl is instead more happy-go-lucky and fun and wants everyone to have a good time, but still gets the job done. When we go through different stages of our lives, different characters pop out to us. They either have something we strive for, or they have a similar story to us that we can draw from. They are our role model. They model the behavior that we want to have, and show us how to tackle obstacles and navigate through life, like the guide in the hero's journey. We all have our own story, our own hero's journey. Some people really look up to their parents, their coaches, or their siblings as role models. And in the cosplay world, we also have, or only have, sometimes, characters. Flux connects with Gwenpool, a comic book character living in a world of comic book characters, and loves that she continues to be a real person or her real self. Magenta identifies with Amethyst from Steven Universe, who is a chunky little trash baby and proud of it, unafraid to be herself. Josh also identifies with the Steven Universe character, Greg Universe, who is a loving, supportive, and compassionate human being, even though he's been through some really tough stuff in his life. He doesn't let his past continue to be his present or future. Mulholland connects with Yuna from Final Fantasy X because she's strong, courageous, and also full of emotion. She's a real human who knows herself. Danime resonates with Maureen Kitagawa from My Dress Up Darling, who is a character that is also a cosplayer and lets her freak flag fly, so to speak. She is never afraid to be her true self. Thunder Bunny's character is Yang Xiaolong from Ruby, a character she connects with because of her strong values on friendship, a similar sense of humor to her own, and how she expresses her values and love for her friends, which she looks up to. Rebecca looks towards Starfire from Teen Titans, specifically the comic book versions. She is the epitome of strength and overcoming adversity and knows herself so well that she doesn't worry about what everyone else thinks. And Keiko Pin talks about her character in Monster Hunter, which is a character that you create. It's the one that she looks towards. She feels her character in the game is strong and capable, courageous, and a badass, and that's the idealized version of herself that she strives to be. She loves herself and continues to love herself through cosplaying in a fandom that she's passionate about. There was a study done by Adam Galinsky and Hojo Adam that was inspired by a Simpsons episode where Bart and Lisa had to wear gray uniforms to school and ended up becoming more subdued. Adam and Hojo wondered if there was actually something to that theory, and they created a study where they had their participants put on white coats that they were told were doctor's coats. Then they gave them an attention test after also giving them a similar attention test in street clothes as their control. They found out that they did way better with the lab coats on. They then did the same test in the same coat, but the participants were told that it was a painter's coat. This was because they, they found that they did no better in the painter's coat than the doctors. And they did this because, so they did better in the first test because they associated the doctors with attention and focus. So they were able to tap into that more through the doctor's coat, or Dr. Cosplay. To bring this to a cosplay point of view, the participants were able to integrate what they felt a doctor's mindset or skills would be in taking this test while they were wearing the doctor's coat. They've seen doctors model to them their whole lives, and the things that they associate with those, dare I say, characters, is that they have better attention and focus than they do, or that they feel they do. So when they put on the clothes that these feelings and thoughts are associated with, they can do those parts, they can don those parts themselves. So cosplayers do the same thing. Let's take Yang Xiaolong from Ruby. She's the bottom middle in the yellow, which is Thunder Bunny's pick, because Thunder Bunny states that she looks up to Yang in the sense that Yang is able to show more of herself and her values than Bunny feels she can or does. Yang models behaviors, values, and ideals that Bunny respects and maybe strives for in this sense. So implementing the same thing the researchers found, if Bunny were to cosplay Yang, she would most likely be able to find in herself the same things that she values in Yang. I can also use myself as an example. I have extremely bad stage fright. I've always felt like I was going to faint in front of people. My heart pounds so hard that I can't even hear myself speak usually. But today I put on a cosplay. It wasn't only to help me up here because I'm literally doing this on cosplay. So I felt it was appropriate, but I definitely felt a million times better up here today, thanks to Belle. Okay. Belle's character is from Mamoru Hosoda's 2021 anime film called Belle. It's a story about a girl named Suzu who tragically loses her mom in front of her. She loses her ability to sing because that was something her and her mom did together. She isolates herself and becomes reclusive, unable to engage socially much in general because of the trauma and the weight of her grief. But once she starts to engage in a virtual world called You, she creates Belle, her avatar and online persona, and gives herself a safe space to find herself and especially her singing voice again. I draw from Suzu's courage when I wear Belle, and it helps me find my own confidence, especially in scary social situations that spark my social anxiety. Also, bringing it back to Goku, I started cosplaying him because he was optimistic in a time that I couldn't figure out how to be optimistic in. I admired his strength and his unwavering ability to look on the bright side. So I started to cosplay him and act like his goofy self, unashamed, battling all the thoughts that told me that my life sucks and that I was not destined for a happy one. I became more outgoing and found friends and support to get out of my mentally and physically abusive relationship. I started working out and learning to love my broad shoulders that I hated my whole life because I began to allow myself, I began to allow myself to eat better as well because of Goku, who's a literal dumpster when it comes to food. I still wasn't the best at eating food until a few years ago, but we definitely got there and Goku was my catalyst in taking care of myself and using the gym for strength instead of just losing weight. These things have layers and it takes a long time to overcome them, but Goku showed me my first achievable goals and how to be optimistic right out of abuse. And this cosplay got me excited for my future. So I want to ask you all, if you can think of a character who has helped you out in times of struggle, or who maybe models something you are currently striving for. How do they present themselves? Do you connect with their story? Or is it something about their personality? Maybe they just dress super cool and you want to find the courage to dress in a really similar style. It can literally be anything. So I have some handouts that I'm going to give out to you guys who are physically here. I also have one for the Zoom crowd. We'll send the PDF over after I'm done through the chat. So this is a little cosplay journal that I made. I have a basic cosplay FAQ in the front, and I've compiled tons of great resources for starting your cosplay and finding community, or even just more information on the back. My Instagram and YouTube channel are on the very back page, along with the rules of the cosplay world, which helps us all interact safely, supportively, and successfully with each other. In the middle bits of the book, I have made some basic character sheets. The first one is for you to fill out with the character who you feel you are right now. The second one is either for you to fill out with a character you want to strive for, like maybe you want more charisma and strength in your life, so you put a little bit more into those skills on your second one. Do whatever you want with it. But yeah, you can save it for as a blank for reference in the future. There's a key to help you figure out a couple things on the sheet, such as your alignment and what all the skills mean. These are just basic guides, so please feel free to add your own flair and imagination into any of this. And in the very middle of the book, there are questions to show you how to integrate a character into your own goal setting. I'll be sending a PDF in the chat after this. So for anybody who wants to print it out themselves, and if anybody wants like more of these, please just like reach out to me. You can contact me on Instagram, or like if you have my email, feel free to email me. I'll be putting everyone's full interviews on my YouTube channel in the future. We just want to get some actual like video footage of everybody who is talking in the videos, since that wasn't necessarily like we weren't necessarily able to do that for this yet. I want to show them off in all their full glory. So if you'd like to follow along with that, feel free to follow my YouTube channel, which is on the back. I'm just starting it up, so there's not much on there at the moment, but yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming today, and just remember that cosplay is for everyone. And we'll open the floor for questions, comments, all of that.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Cosplay is useful characterization, you know, to talk about so much in such little time, a lot of great. And just your costume's amazing. So thank you for letting us see it today. Yeah, please. I was wondering, you were talking about like resiliency, in terms of like going through this process of, like engaging old thoughts with new responses, and like learning new craft skills, and like having like new support systems to experience like old feelings in. And I'm wondering if there's been a time, like since starting cosplay, where you've tried something again for like the second or the third time or whatever that was, where you felt like you had new skills because of cosplaying, and had like a different outcome, or it just felt different, where another place in your life that feels uninterpreted, you were able to like approach differently, or have a different sense of self-confidence.
Okay. So the second part of that, so it's basically like creating, or in the crafting process or whatever I'm doing in the cosplay world, relating to something that is not related to cosplay, right? And how I navigate through that.
And how you see yourself growing down.
Yeah. So let's see. I think I did a lot of this actually the first year of the pandemic. So the Monster Hunter cosplay that I was showing in this. Oh, sorry. There's that. I just remembered. But there's Monster Hunter cosplay that I was showing in the beginning of this, and I was actually going through a lot of my eating disorder stuff when I was making that. So I was allowing myself to eat, and I was also having really bad body dysmorphia, and because all the gyms were closed, I wasn't able to go to the gym and punish myself by working out for eating food. So I channeled that into cosplay, into Monster Hunter, because I see Monster Hunter like cosplayers, and like just like Monster Hunter in general, they're like just these big like buff babies, and I was like, hey, if I can find a way to feel like good about not just being like so skinny, then maybe I can figure that out. So I went through the crafting process of like making my first big armor build, which was my Bisha 10 armor set from Monster Hunter, and my bouquet rod. And I learned a lot through that process of on like armor, but also learning to love my body in that. The armor is really bulky and big, and so it also kind of like triggered a lot of my body dysmorphia, because I felt like when I put it on, I was bigger, and I just could not figure out how to deal with that. And so I just kept putting it on, and I just kept like fixing it and like, and making myself more comfortable feeling in it. And then, when I put everything on and I like held my big puke rod, I was like, this is so cool. I don't even care anymore. And then, that kind of helped me, appreciate my body a lot more, I guess. So that's one that I can remember at the moment. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one's good. So I only brought a couple of his pieces, but yeah, if anybody like wants to come look at these at all, when we're like done here, you can definitely come pick them up and stuff. Stare at them, whatever. But yeah, that was Guts. He's my newest build. And then Goku. These are my old Goku shoes from like I made these like 6 years ago, I think, and they're still here. They're still alive, Eon. They have a right. I wore them a lot. But I had to bring them because I just like I could never, even if these like broke, I don't think I could ever get rid of them. So literally, if I had a museum, these would be in the first box. Right when you walk in, I'd be like, go. And then that's me, my kiwi mask. I can't put it on right now because I have a wig and flowers, but yeah, I made that out of foam, and that was kind of representative of one of the cosplays that I did have to also battle myself in within the last like, I don't know, half a year. So yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Other than like the conferences, like
The convention.
the convention, when would you be tracking out to end, like, then what do you do?
So my partner is is my photographer and videographer and stuff, and Eon or Flux is one of my cosplay friends, and a lot of the time we just were like, hey, you want to go do like a cosplay thing? And we're like, yeah, let's go take photos or something. And so we'll just do that just to like dress up and go have a good time. It doesn't cost us any money because we've already made this stuff. So it's kind of like instead of going out to the bar, or instead of going and like spending way too much on dinner, sushi, something like that, we go to like the park and we'll like take pictures and do videos. And I also, for one thing, the first anniversary of Belle, I think it was, or I can't remember if it was the first anniversary or when the movie dropped, but one of those, it was like this event that I kind of like, I was stoked for. And so we actually spent like a few days making a cosplay music video in this because she sings. So we made a whole cosplay music video, and that was really fun. And we dropped it on the day that the movie came out and everything. And we had a really great time. That's on my YouTube channel. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. There was someone on Zoom. Did you say? Or just check the chat?
I think they might use this option to see everything.
Oh yeah.
Stop share.
There we go. Okay. Hi everybody.
We have Lily. I think.
Yeah, Lily.
Lindsay, oh my God, I'm just so proud of you. You're just so cool. Gosh, yeah, ever since you and Raven and I kind of bonded in LSS, I started learning about cosplay from you. Every opportunity that I had to learn about cosplay from you was there, and it's been so cool. I've learned so much from you. I had no idea. I really, just in general, I had no idea. And this is just so transformative. The way that you really bring this out, and you are so vulnerable with it. And I just appreciate you, and I am so awed by you. And I've been getting like so emotional. I have like a Kleenex over here that's like all bottled up because I'm just like, you're just so cool. And I'm just so happy to know you. And I know that you help a lot of people, and that's not going to change. I'm just really excited to see different ways that you touch people and you help people fall in love with themselves and get to know themselves and get to know different parts of themselves. And I'm going to stop before I start crying again. I appreciate you. I just appreciate you, and I'm glad that you did this, and I'm glad that you helped us learn more about it. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks for almost making me cry.
Hey, am I okay to say something? I just wanted to say it was beautiful, your presentation. You look amazing, and everything that you discussed I would love to discuss more and get together. I'm so impressed. It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing this.
We've got a question in the room.
I mean, it's like more of a comment more than a question, but it's a question. Was that briefly in the beginning of that 7-minute video? Was that you dressed up as Knuckles?
No.
It looks like you, and it looks like Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog. I was like, I don't know what it is. I'm there and see. I thought it was cool. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
What's the first one?
People talking. There was a montage of people in different costumes. There was a girl in the park.
Oh, gotcha. No, that was Celeste from Animal Crossing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess the other thing, I don't know the best week for everyone on it, but this is really well done, and kind of just hearing you go on and your conclusion really made me think about like the characters that are empowering to me. And like, no, I never really did cosplay, but I've dressed up plenty of times in my life for Halloween, and my brother plays sword fighting. And you know, obviously I've probably told the classes before, and I would have considered listening to maybe there's a community out there who Lord of the Rings cosplay, which there are friends who do that. It's just great. Really interesting stuff. Yeah. This was super enjoyable.
I appreciate it. And yeah, there's a lot of Lord of the Rings cosplayers out there. I cosplay Gandalf, Frodo, and Bilbo. Yeah, I did actually someday. We rented a Hobbit Hole, which is over in Wenatchee. It's really cool Airbnb, and expensive, but we rented it for a night, and my partner and I were like, we're going to take all of our pictures and do all the videos. So I dressed up as all three of them for like the rest of the time we had light that day. It was like 4 hours or something. Quick changes, but it was really fun. So Rebecca.
Thank you for showing up as you and for bringing us through this experience of all these self-awarenesses you came to and ways that you shifted your own sense of who you are and how it feels to make things and to be okay with the way they turn out. I just love all of those messages. And I can just imagine you with your clients in this garb, having a wonderful time and just making people so excited to come to therapy. So we definitely need more of this. Yes, I feel like you might be a great person to inspire the rest of us to show up as ourselves. So thank you so much and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, Sarah Beth. I will,
Yeah.
In my master's degree, I'll just show up as like a new character every single
Mhm.
That would be so funny.
Yeah, the costumes are just beautiful, and I loved that you were sharing how it's hard to walk sometimes because I was imagining, but I also think it's an opportunity to find yourself in poses that could help you feel differently. And I just, you know how I love noticing the body and what it does. So thank you for reminding me that there's lots of ways to do that.
Thanks, Sarah Beth. Anybody else?
Can we talk about the difference between resilience and strength?
Resilience and strength. So are you talking about like inner strength or outer strength or? Okay.
Do you think?
I don't know. I think the strength is I think it's like intertwined in it, right? Like kind of finding strength or even when you don't have strength, sometimes you do find some way to persevere and like to like in a resilience aspect, I guess is what I'm talking about. But you do find like something that kind of pushes you over to persevere. I think a lot of people maybe have more strength than others because of like where we come from and like, you know, our households and stuff. Growing up, what we were taught, what we've been through, all of that stuff. Maybe it comes easier to some people than others. But I do think everybody has their own inner strength. But I think maybe some people sometimes if they don't feel like they do, it might just be scary. So I don't know. I think it's a stepping stone in resilience. It's to find your own strength and like, or have other people that help you find your own strength, or find, you know, be lifted up by like community members or friends sometimes when you don't have strength. And then in that you can find them. Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, Shawnee.
Yeah, I didn't expect a presentation on cosplay to make me cry. That was beautiful. Is cosplay always connected with anime, or can it be any type of character?
No, so cosplay can be any type of character. I cosplay from mostly anime, I think, and then video games after that, and then comic book characters. I don't cosplay a ton of comic book characters, but and then there's a ton of people that actually cosplay like their D&D characters, and there's something called Critical Role, which is a D&D show. It's really big now, and people cosplay from that, but it's also, you know, it's kind of a combo with the show, and it's also D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you who don't know. And there's people that cosplay from Warhammer, which is a like really big tabletop game with tons of little like figures. Yeah, Eric, and Eric knows. Magic the Gathering, which is a trading card game. Yeah, there's tons of different cosplay. I think a lot of people think of like anime probably when they think of cosplay, but I think comic book characters are like, they're huge. Like most people, and we know so many people that cosplay. Like I was like Joel is a comic book cosplayer. So but yeah, there's tons of it. Kind of anything, whatever you want. I also have a friend actually who cosplays from books, like without pictures or anything. Yeah, she makes her own like costumes and things built based on the description in the book of the character, and then she cosplays them however she sees them, like coming out of that. So yeah.
Okay. Let's give a round of applause.
And we'll reconvene at 5:15, and I'll have an expanded room.
Thank you so much.